issue number 200.
200
of the BadCoyoteFunky podcast.
Yeah.
Wow.
We finally made it. That crazy milestone that we never thought would ever happen. The donut in the sky, the little kid sun that's shining down on us and laughing. And that's Teletubbies. That's not us. We're going to be doing quite a bit of reminiscing, talking about things that we really liked, things that maybe we wish we could have done, and really just talking about BadCoyoteFunky. But before we do any of that, let's see who's joining us. As always, we have Dave the Bearded Menace.
I can't cast that here.
TV's Casey.
The talent, TV's Casey.
I'm putting that in air quotes.
Very significant.
The
quotes.
talent.
Important that is in quotation marks.
You're the fluffer.
I'm putting it on my business cards.
You're the fluffer.
He's the fluffer. Jay Smack.
I'm in real life this time.
Are you though? No. He's not here. He's not actually
He's a simulation. Yeah. We don't really know if he's here or not.
And the Bad Coyote himself, Sergio.
Everybody, welcome to this 200th episode.
Whoa.
I hope everybody's dogs was howling at that part. Thank you everyone who's been listening.
Of course.
Has been watching on Twitch, on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, on Google Play, on everywhere you listen to us for all these episodes. We've made it here to 200.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's that? XX. That's it.
No. I think
We're
it's
smart.
Is it M?
No shit.
I feel like we should have checked this before we started.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be your host for the evening booster, Greg. Now that we've gotten all of that business and very complicated math and Roman numerals out of the way, episode 200. So the first thing that I kind of want to just kick off right off the bat, I want to know what your favorite episode of BadCoyoteFunky podcast has been thus
good question.
far. We've done a lot.
We have.
We have. Not to like really toot our own horns, but that's what this episode's pretty much going to be about.
self-indulgence.
I mean, just to kind of give you an idea, we've covered the hottest nerd news, movies, TV shows, games to come out as soon as we can, essentially. In the off season, we'll call it, we've done movie clubs where we've talked about maybe a movie that you haven't seen or maybe a movie that you have thought about or wondered about, and we covered for you. We did a couple comic books, read a couple graphic novels in there. We also did some skits. So we had which is one of my favorite ones, the President of the Earth skit.
That was pretty good.
Which was a really solid one. So that's just like a sampling. But I want to know when I say what's your favorite episode that we've done, what comes to mind?
I mean, there's a lot of really good breakout moments where we just like make each other laugh and just like bust out, or somebody in chat said something that made us laugh.
Yeah.
And especially that we cover, like you said, a lot of things like movies, TV shows, stuff like that. I think the Spider-Verse episode was pretty good.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. That was pretty good because that movie was really good and everybody got costumes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was more fun than it probably should have been. Because I remember that was all just like maybe we should just dress as our own. Because I remember like we saw the movie and the whole point of Spider-Verse, for those of you who haven't seen it, if you haven't, go see it right now. Well, listen to this, then go see it. But it's like anyone can wear the mask. Anyone can be Spider-Man. And that's kind of the whole point. So it's just kind of like guys, we could be Spider-Man.
And I could be the Spider-Ham.
He was.
Buckaroo Banzai.
God damn it. Why?
Okay. So here's my reasoning. One,
Yeah.
I missed the age when we did lots of movie clubs. Like at least every month we had a movie club, which was a lot of fun. So I missed those days.
Yeah.
And that was specifically, if you're looking for the episode, it was episode 16.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah, episode 16, early days. And this is back when we used to do preview episodes. So the preview episode was actually more of a build-up of the actual episode itself. Because we were like still coming off of like Dragon Ball Z and like, what character would you be and stuff like that.
Sure.
Then we're like, okay, we'll talk about Buckaroo Banzai next week. But what I liked about it was it's like watching the first season of Family Guy or The Simpsons. Like the animation's not there yet. It's not the characters that you know yet, or like any first season in general. Pretty much, it's like we're still like discovering like what we were trying to be at that point.
The original actor for TV's Casey was kind of directionless at the beginning. I remember. Then, of course, I was brought in to replace him midway through season 2.
And our replacement actor is still kind of directionless.
After his tragic accident, recommending that everybody watch Buckaroo Banzai.
Well, what was great about Buckaroo Banzai was that like you didn't
There was
even
nothing great about Buckaroo Banzai.
No, not the
Nothing
movie,
great.
not the movie. But what was great about that episode was Casey. I don't even think you even saw the movie.
I didn't see it.
Before you recommended it.
No.
Which was great because like the whole point of the movie club was I saw this movie. Let's watch it together and we'll discuss it.
Yeah,
No,
sure.
I went completely blind. I had heard nothing but good things about it, and I'll tell you, it may have been because I was fresh off of reading Ready Player One, the book that came in a loot crate, in which he cites it, and he's like, "Oh, it's got the oscillator overdrive or whatever," and I'm like, "Wow, this movie has Jeff Goldblum in it. How could it be bad?"
By the way, too, not to get off topic.
And Peter Weller, it has RoboCop.
It's true. Loot Crate's going out of business. I don't know if you guys heard that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Heard it here first.
I was reading this article and it's like, Loot Crate, like, filed for bankruptcy. And I'm like, people figured out that pop figures are cheaper on their own than just getting a happenstance one from Loot Crate.
Also, people don't want to buy like a whole box to get one thing.
Yeah.
Like, I remember like, when Sea of Thieves was coming out, they had this really cool like figurine I wanted, and like I messaged them on like Twitter, like, can I just buy this individually?
Yeah.
I will pay money, and they're like, nope, got to buy the whole box. I'm like, all right, fine,
Never
I guess. Yeah, fine.
Yeah, I just have a mountain of useless crap sitting in
Yeah.
a box, a big box.
Because
No wonder
not
Loot
everything in
Crate.
the box is good. It's like one or two things. Everything
Yeah.
else is like trash. So you get a box, you're like, this is cool. This is cool. The rest of this I can throw away and not care
Right.
about.
Yeah. I couldn't even give it away.
What am I going to do with Overwatch magnets? I've never even played the game. What the fuck?
What
have I
also
done?
great about that episode was like the episode really didn't start taking off until we got off the subject of Buckaroo Banzai.
Yeah.
Like we started talking about like when we were kids, and you specifically talking about like you got pissed off that you woke up one Monday and the Tooth Fairy didn't give you like any money or
Oh,
whatsoever.
yeah, that was a solid story.
So you walk
I
up
like
to your
that one.
dad and you're like, the Tooth Fairy didn't give me any. And your dad, without missing a beat, is like, it's Labor Day.
He doesn't work on it. She doesn't work on it every day.
And you're like, oh,
What are you,
okay.
What are you, an idiot? It's a holiday.
Oh my
And you're like, oh, okay, and you walk away. But it's like, and there's a term that Casey used in there, which I love, which it could have been easily used for like any other movie we've seen, like Hobbs and Shaw and all that, was movie in a blender.
Oh, God.
And it's a good term because it's like, it's right. Like it describes a lot of the movies that
you
we've
take
watched.
too many elements and you put it in one film and you're
Yeah.
like, this works and this works and this works and this works. And if you put it all in, it works,
Well,
right?
that's what you guys said about Hobbs and Shaw. It's like they took like different elements. Okay, now writers get to it, like, and make it work. And it's a good term for that kind of stuff.
You mean
which-
like Aquaman?
Yes.
Or it's like, that's the Iron Man scene. I've seen this movie before.
This movie is a Star Wars. What?
But it's like
But it's underwater.
But it's just it's fun to watch, and also like all those early episodes are fun to watch because like to hear where we started,
Yeah.
how our voices have changed. Except for me, I'm still sounding like an asshole, and it's like great. I haven't really matured a lot at
yeah,
all.
yeah.
You guys have, I haven't.
Yeah, sure.
Says a lot of shit about me.
I really like two of our episodes. I really like our Civil War episode because we all saw it together and we
Yeah.
all had a lot of, and our minds were blown seeing that kind of thing because
Yeah.
no one had
Yeah.
really done something like that successfully and
Right.
made it work so well. And plus, that movie was so good; it had a good storyline.
Yeah.
We
Well,
watched Force Awakens together, too.
I was
didn't
going
we?
to say too, that
Yeah.
was the second one that I liked. The Force
Yeah.
Awakens one, we were so enthusiastic and we were so like, oh my god, Star Wars is back, baby.
Yeah.
Little did we know.
Oh, what a time to be
Little did we know.
alive.
Fast forward in the future.
I remember getting out of that and it was just like, Han's dead? And I just like didn't know what to,
Greg,
what to do.
spoilers. Jesus Christ.
It's been a couple of years. That's fine.
Good Lord.
Also, Luke's dead. Also, Leia's still alive.
Good?
Question mark? We'll see.
But she's, by character. Yeah.
Truly questionable editorial choices.
Yeah.
I might be the only fan of our Dungeons and Dragons episode.
That was a lot of fun. Well, we put in a lot of work on that.
Yeah, I think the prep work and
That was
coordinating with you was really a good time. Yeah.
Yeah. 100 episodes.
100
ago.
episodes to
Yeah,
the
right.
day.
Right.
Our first really big milestone
Yeah.
that we ever did, and
Yeah.
having no idea what we were going to do to celebrate a bunch of dudes just getting around talking about stuff that they really enjoy.
Yeah.
And that was a fun change of pace. It kind of went a little off the rails. It went super long.
Yeah.
And even though we did most of it out of the book, we threw in a bunch of fun elements.
Yeah, we did.
Like that bird guy.
The bird guy was awesome.
We love that bird
I can't
guy.
remember his name, but he was fucking awesome.
No, it was good. It's something that I think Greg and I have always kind of secretly wanted to revisit.
Yeah.
My character had a goblin pet for a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
You
That's
remember?
right.
Yeah.
I had a
I gotta
pet
go over
for
and
a
listen to that again. That was the only time I've ever made music for this show. Mine is always the Ant-Man episode, 110%. Even though our recording wasn't like our recording game wasn't up to snuff yet, but everyone was firing on all cylinders.
We don't have this fancy equipment you see before.
No,
you.
I think the fanciest we had was some snowballs.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we had those at that point.
I did.
We definitely did.
I had to. If it's the only microphone I've ever.
No,
bought.
because you had a headset.
You did.
What?
So
Yeah.
for the very first episode, I was using a pair of Beats with the built-in mic. And then I think Serge got a snowball. And then I got a snowball. And we made Dave get a snowball.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, Casey was like, wait a minute.
I should get a snowball.
Yeah.
I should.
Yeah, we started like super low tech.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like that was the whole point, just to get it like started, because we were
Yeah.
talking about it like for so long, and then it just wasn't getting going. It was like, all right, we have to start just doing it.
And we didn't
You know
even
what I
know
mean?
if it was going to pan out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
'Cause it's just
absolutely, yeah. Because the thing about it is that like everyone has a podcast, yes, and people are just like, like, why do you guys podcast? I'm like, well, everyone has a voice, but every voice is your own. You know what I mean? I mean, everybody. I mean, there's so many news outlets out there, but not everybody has the same voice in news outlets, and everybody has the same, like side of the story, same perspective, the same level of professionalism they can bring to something. You know what I mean? Because like there's a lot of like geek shows out there, but not all of them are good.
Yeah.
And not all of them are good, and a lot of them are shills. Let's just put it out there like that. Like, I'm not gonna name any, but there's a couple that come to mind. And Mayor got into a Twitter beef with one or two because I feel like they shill out for certain outlets and movies because they bump into certain people and want to be invited
sure.
back to
Yeah.
certain movie screenings and such. And they're like, oh yeah, go see this movie Dark Phoenix, even though it's total shit, but go see it.
And sometimes you throw a tantrum when you're not corporately invited to these things.
Got him.
Not mentioning any names, but yeah, because you have to say you're working your ass off to be a fan. Okay, buddy. Anyway, yeah, but yeah, so I mean, the whole point was to get like our voices to talking about the stuff that we actually like, because
Right.
the voices that are out there are okay. Some are actually really good, but it's not your own.
Yeah.
Right,
And why
right,
not
right,
just
right.
create your own on your own? You know what I mean?
I could do this.
Yeah.
I have opinions.
Podcasting is literally the newest form of stand-up comedy where like anyone listens just goes, I could do this. This is easy. And then you
Yeah.
like press record, you're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know how it happened, but I became NPR.
I gotta say, my favorite episode was, the one that I joined you guys and started, bullshitting with you guys.
I was not there for that one.
You weren't.
Yeah, Casey was on a hiatus.
I was on a
Neither
brief
was Dave,
hiatus.
actually.
Dave was on a hiatus too, I think. Yeah.
But that was the Attack the Block episode.
Hey.
It's also when Doc Chris joined too.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome. It was cool for Greg to approach me and be like, "Hey, listen," he's like, "I do this podcast."
I was like, we're down one beard. I need another one.
2 beards.
We need more beer.
Dude, I've had a beard for this entire program.
All right, not important. Anyway,
Yeah,
Jason.
anyways.
But no, and then other episodes that I really enjoyed. I definitely, you guys know this. I definitely love the episode where we had to pick a team of people to fight Nazis.
That was great.
Oh my god.
That was great. I almost forgot about that.
That was a good one.
That
Yeah.
has definitely generated the dumbest ongoing joke since the last 150
Yes.
episodes.
Oh my god, yeah.
I gotta
And
find that one.
everybody still puts up with me for it.
Now, technically, does this count as the reference for this episode?
It does.
It does.
And
Yeah.
Who knows?
We're fully embracing it, as we have long since abandoned mentioning Mark Hamill in every episode.
Oh yeah.
Remember when we tried to do that?
That was, just so you guys
They're out
know, the episode Jason's referring to was called The Inglorious Dream Team. And it was,
Yes!
and it was 100, issue number 111. I remember, so I have a graphic on here. I chose The Rocketeer.
Yep.
Casey chose Captain America.
Yep.
Serge chose Magneto.
Yeah.
I want to say Dave chose Wonder Woman. I want to say.
I know I also picked Golden Age Superman at one point in there.
The President of the Earth episode is 77.
Wow.
Damn.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was called The Bad Coyote Filibuster.
It didn't seem that long ago, but when you put the episode number in front of it, it's like, oh, wow.
Wow. Yeah.
I thought for sure, I'm remembering it wrong, because I thought for sure we did Inglorious Dream Team before. Well, we also did the dating game. We did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for Valentine's
Yeah,
Day.
that one was just like half put together. Like if we do that again, I want to work more on the actual like what people saw on stream.
That was a goddamn miss.
It was so funny because I had everyone's head on a like pedestal for like the game show, and then I literally just had like quickly photoshopped of all the characters. And for those of you at home, maybe if you hadn't listened to that one, we didn't say who the Bachelorette was, but it was someone from nerd and geek culture, whether it be movies, video games, comics, whatever. So like one of them, just to give you an idea, was the Alien Queen. And what we had to do is I had to describe like these questions and who this person was, and these gentlemen had to win over her heart. That was a lot of fun. I want to know what we talk about our favorite episodes. I want to know what your favorite bits are, reoccurring bits that come in, because we do, as everyone knows, we do try to get this show live on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, twitch.tv/BadCoyoteFunky. And you don't have to listen to all of them to come in and hang out with us. But if you do come in week after week, we like to throw in a little bit extra, a little continuity, if you will, just to say thank you. Hey, here's a little inside joke for just for me and you, just for us. So I want to know what your favorite ongoing bit is.
Well, I know what yours is, which we might have the same one.
Yeah, what's yours?
This is you came up with Radio Jones.
I love Radio Jones.
Radio Jones is the parallel Earth version of me who loves all of the things I hate.
It's so good.
So among his favorite characters are Gambit and Spawn. And he is just the broiest of bros.
And he's from an alternate Earth.
Yeah.
Where there's like 18 Spawn movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's the Spawn cinematic universe. For real? Have we ever told the people at home how we came up with all of our internet handles?
I don't think we have.
We never have. No, we never.
I don't want
let's
to
do it.
jump out of this question
let's
about
do it.
favorite
No,
bits.
go, let's do
I
it.
think
It's
it's good.
time.
Yeah. So like I said, I have always been a big fan of Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Hence the t-shirt. For
Hence-
those of you listening,
hence the
audio,
t-shirt.
you can't see it.
Any iteration, whether it's Joel, Mike, or the one with Patton Oswalt and Felicia Day.
Jonah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know the actual.
Jonah Ray is
that
the
his?
guy's name.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He too was on the notice for a while.
He was also there.
He was there.
But
He was a nice one though.
yeah.
Yeah.
TV's Frank.
Yeah.
The sidekick of all sidekicks to Dr. Forrester. Just a quip and a half. And I'm like, I need to come up with an internet name. It's May of 2015. I need to be on this show. I have zero internet presence. What do I do? And I go, TV's Casey. And the branding has run from there.
You've been on the TV how many times?
That's it. None. Once. I think I was on the news
think you were
once
on the
when
news,
I was
yeah.
a kid. I'd rather not disclose why.
When my handle on the internet back in the day used to be Mad Superboy.
Yeah, I
And
remember
mainly,
that.
that was my first AOL AIM screen name. And that was because I was mad that Superboy was already taken. And I didn't want to put in like any sort of numbers or any shit like that. And then it got to a point where I was just like, well, I've kind of outgrown that. Like, I can't be that anymore. And then I was playing The Old Republic. And it was like, enter your character's name. And I was like, you know what? I really like Booster Gold. I think Boost would just be like a really cool smuggler name. And no one had taken it because I was like day one kind of deal. So I went with that. Nice. And I started playing more things and it was just like, that's already taken. That's too short. That's too this. That's too that. So then it just kind of turned into just, I put in my name. It was just like Booster Greg. And that was that. And then it just, went from there. It got to the point where like we played The Old Republic so much that like I was working at GameStop at that time. And like they just started calling me like Boost in the store. And it was also at a double thing because I also got the best numbers in the store, which I'm not proud of. So they're like, you're boosting our store's numbers. And I was like, shut up. I don't like that. But yeah, it was primarily from Booster Gold, one of my favorite superheroes of all time. And if you're wondering who this character is or why you should like them, you should watch the Justice League Unlimited episode, The Greatest Story Never Told. That is the best introduction to the character you could possibly get.
Yes.
Period. Yeah.
Mine also came from America Online.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always been like my nickname since the late '90s, I guess. But the reason why it's not JMac and it's got an S in the middle of that is absolutely nefarious. When I was a kid, I was using America Online and I was looking at things I shouldn't have been looking at.
Is it for sex? Is the S for sex?
It can be. Absolutely.
I'm sorry, that's
It is now.
So I didn't know how to clear my internet search history.
Oh, jeez.
When I was, like 11 years old.
Sure.
A youth.
Yeah. So
A youth Googling
I
boobies.
had JMac at AOL for like a super long time. And
Yeah.
I panicked one day because my family was coming home, and I was like, "Oh shit! Like I don't know what to do." So I deleted my screen name, re-added it, and they're like, "No, you can't add the same screen name, idiot." And since then, like there was a kid in high school who started calling me by my screen name, just JSmac.
Yeah.
And it just stuck, and it's gone through, my entire life now.
For me, basically, it was
Because
like,
you are a bearded menace.
pretty much. Well, like originally, I was trying to do like more like art-related things, like in my hometown, like in downtown, pretty much.
Yeah.
And people always identify me literally just by the beard. Like you see me from like a block away.
It's that guy.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's Dave, the guy with the beard, the bearded guy. It always like was a thing. So I'm like, all right, well, if that's what people are gonna remember me by, I might as well
Right.
like own it. You know?
And then we were put on a few lists.
Shaved his beard. No one knew who he was.
So like around that time, I started to like do more like Star Wars cosplay and stuff like that. And someone said a joke. It's like, oh, you're like the Phantom Menace. You're the Bearded Menace. And then it just like stuck. I'm like, hey, that's not a bad idea. I like that. So I started doing more like artwork with that name, the Bearded Menace, Dave the Bearded Menace. I started getting known more like in an art circle with that name pretty much. And then when we started getting this all together, I'm like, well, I already have it established pretty much. I have the business cards that have it. Let's just fucking go with it.
Yeah.
And it just stuck. And even like it followed me to like a couple jobs. Like even people I see from the old art scene still call me the Bearded Menace. And they know my first name is Dave or my last name, but they know
They
the
stay
Bearded
by
Menace.
that name.
The Bearded Menace.
Yeah.
And we've been regretting the overlay ever since.
It's too many characters.
It's always the longest thing to type. I'm like, damn it, there's so much in here.
Sergio.
So mine comes from like it's like a gumbo of a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
It's kind of stupid. So when I was younger, I used to watch a lot of cartoons.
Yeah.
And one of the cartoons I liked was genres was like the Tex Avery cartoons. And one of them had I thought it was a coyote. It was a wolf. And he was the guy who he was in like a zoot suit. And whenever he saw like
Red
a pretty
Hot
lady,
Riding Hood.
yeah, when he saw a pretty
What
lady,
the
like,
master's into when he gets horny.
yeah, exactly. yeah, the mask, yeah, exactly. That's from the Tex Avery cartoon. Whenever there's a pretty lady, he's like, woo, God, like his mouth would drop open, his eyes would bug out. So there's that. That's where the coyote part comes from. The bad part is, where's everyone looking at?
As a fly.
We're looking at you.
Oh, okay. I was like, because you're all looking like really.
We're all looking at you. Tell your
No, it was so
story.
weird. You all look a certain way, like in this direction. I was like, is there a goddamn ghost?
Oh, don't worry. The wall just fell out in all the cameras.
It was like really fucking weird. Anyway, so the bad part in the West Indies and the Caribbean, if you're a bad man, it means you're a badass man. So, Bad Coyote, and one of my cousins was like, oh, that's a funky ass name. Literally. That's a funky ass name. And I was just like, let's put it all together because I'm young and I'm stupid. And there it is.
Yes.
It's like the name of a bar.
Now I can explain to people why they're like, wait, what is this?
What's one nerd event that we wish the podcast was around for? So I mean, I'm gonna put some limitations on this because it'd be very easy to be like, well, when Star Wars first came out, I'm gonna stop that. I'm gonna say within the past. So we've been doing this show for about 4 years, right? So let's keep it into the past decade.
I mean, I would say like some stuff like E3 when like Attack of the Show was a thing.
Yeah.
Because I really like wanted like to do that.
Yep.
But like under my own thing, which is like kind of how this whole thing came about. Because it was such a crazy time like for TV because like no one was doing geek shows or nerd shows, and I thought it was just so freaking cool. And I was just beginning to learn about E3, being a young lad, being a young warthog, and I was
Watching
like,
episodes of X-Play with Adam Sessler.
right. Morgan Webb and Attack the Show with Kevin Forever and The Delicious Love of Your Mun. Yeah. So if you're around like back then, maybe we would have like bumped into them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everyone has their favorite from back in the day.
Victoria Belmont.
Although we did bump into Chris Gore.
We did.
So it still kind of happened.
And he loved the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, BadCoyoteFunky, that's a great name. He's like, I'm shooting a podcast. You guys should come listen.
I think honestly, like I agree with Serge because everything I would want us to cover, we kind of have.
Yeah.
Like we didn't become what we are until Star Wars Celebration Anaheim.
Yeah.
For like the Force Awakens Star Wars event. So it's like everything like other than that, it's like other movies. Movies I wish we covered like back in the day. Like if we had the podcast, it would have been something like Sin City or 300. That would have been kind of cool to talk about.
Yeah.
As soon as we saw Brand New.
More than the 10 years.
That's more than a
I know,
decade.
but that's what I'm saying. It's like everything I've wanted to cover, we would have covered. We kind of did.
Yeah.
If it's within 10 years of the start of the show,
Yeah, sure.
so to 2005, Iron Man.
Yeah.
First Iron Man. So we could have had an episode for every MCU film as it came out.
Because we started our first episode was Age of Ultron.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Among other things, yeah.
And that's like late. I mean, I guess probably not even late stage, but that's probably at least almost halfway through.
Yeah.
Year-wise, because they just started pumping out 3 a year. A lot of people forget that when Iron Man came out, it was like, that was 2008. Then 2010, all you got was like the Hulk and Iron Man 2. And then it was another year, and all you got was like Captain America. And, oh, yeah, and Thor.
Yeah.
But then Avengers was the only thing in 2012, and after that, it's so sporadic.
Yeah.
But It would have been cool to see it happen over time because I was 18 when Iron Man came out.
Yeah.
I was a youth.
Now you're old.
Now I'm old.
Old as
Now
shit.
I'm pushing 30, unlike the rest of
I
you
remember like we went.
who have pushed 30 and are going well beyond.
I remember like we went to go see like the first Avengers in theater together. I forgot who else went with us, and there was like 4 dudes sitting in front of us that are doing like a budget cosplay. Like he had like a actually like cardboard like Mjolnir and like everything was all like done with duct tape.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, those guys are awesome. And it's like that was like the start of like this whole like culture, pretty much, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Especially for the fact that like after those movies, we talking to people anyway.
I know I came up with a question, but I can't really think because similar to Dave, like we've covered everything thus far in recent memory.
I don't know if there's anything really big that we missed.
Honestly, like the only thing that I mean that we could have covered before, I would still like to cover in the future if we get the invite or if we can just get to go, would be obviously San Diego Comic-Con. You know, that'd be great to go to.
Yeah, sure.
PAX Prime, PAX West, any of like the other like PAX things.
Like BlizzCon.
BlizzCon, like E3, you know, like any of like those other like big ones.
I mean, but we still talk about them, but to actually like go there and like cover them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we do like a trailer roundup essentially and all of that. But yeah, to go there and smell the smells and feel the germs on our
And do a group cosplay.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Because especially when you see some of the outlets and like how they report and some of these things, like not a lot of it is good.
Yeah.
Not a lot of it is good content. Like you had a certain outlet who went to E3 and they got like supremely triggered and flamed online for seeing a certain video game.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, what are you guys talking about? Everything you're saying is bad, sounds really good. And I want to play this video game even more.
Yeah.
So they look really bad. So for us to go there and cover it ourselves, you know, like that's what yeah.
I think actually now I'm really thinking about it. The beginning of this past console cycle would have been really cool to go from like what we had before, so whether it be PS3 or Xbox 360, to go into the PS4 and Xbox One and what that was like, because we never really talked about it. But I remember, I think it was Killzone.
I forgot about Killzone.
All I know is
Shadowfall.
We could have had my desperation to say, no, guys, the Wii U is totally worth it.
But I remember, like, I was playing Killzone Shadowfall, and that was the first time I had seen like dynamic shadows in a game. So I was just like sneaking. I was like, oh, what's that? And I hit an event, and I waited, and nothing came. And I peeked around, and it was my own shadow.
Amazing.
I was afraid of my own shadow in the game. That was a shining moment of pro league gaming for me. So if we could have one figure, whether it be actor, game developer, whatever.
Living or dead?
I was going to say living first, and then we'll go dead.
My answer would have been
Stanley. Of course. Yeah.
Of course.
We'll start with dead, and we'll go living. That we could have on the show. Not even just to interview, just to like pal around with.
I would just stare absentmindedly at the man.
Be like,
I would.
tell me again about how you thought of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I think, to be fair, though, I probably would not have a different reaction.
I don't even know if I would really want Stanley on the show. That dude's old. I don't want to bother him with questions. Be like, so what's the real story behind you and Jack Kirby and you taking credit for all the things he's done? Like, whoa. That's not something you really want to say to the man, the myth, the legend.
You probably wouldn't.
I wouldn't. No, absolutely
no
not.
one would.
But it's always in the back of my mind, and you never know when it might slip.
I bet you, if you had met him in person, all of that would just wash away.
I did meet him in person.
If you met him in person, had more than a 4-second conversation.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
I would definitely never think to say
Yes.
that.
Also, too, because he's very charismatic. Like in every one of his interviews, he's sharp.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
like he's really freaking sharp. Because like people will ask him something and he'll come back and spin it around like, whoa, what? That was really funny.
The
really
best
clever.
thing Stan Lee ever sold was himself.
I know me, I'd get like too starstruck and I wouldn't be able to like ask anything too relevant. My first thought was like Kevin Conroy, but I'm like, what would I fucking even ask him?
We're going dead.
Dead first.
Oh,
Kevin
dead
Conroy
first?
is very much alive.
I really hope that no news is broken about Kevin
Yeah.
Conroy's untimely demise.
Sleeping, actually.
Oh, come on! It keeps
takes
happening.
one nap.
Take one nap while we're setting up this ridiculous technological mess.
Honestly, it'd be a cross between either Robin Williams or Chris Farley.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because no matter what we talk about, it's going to be a funny episode.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm here on the BadCoyoteFunky podcast. We're all having a good time.
Robin Williams just does the whole podcast. He does everyone's voices.
He does an impersonation of each of us.
All right, now real dead person.
Yeah.
Really dead. Heath Ledger.
I was gonna say Heath Ledger. Damn it.
Right from out from under.
Because that would encompass like talking to someone and then covering something as well. You know, like covering him playing the Joker and talk about all that they're in. You know, like his methodology, like what was going on in his brain, and like how he was able to bring out the clown. You know?
Oh, for sure.
Because especially the fact that like it's like, oh, like, you know, how did it feel from going to people not believing in you and thinking you could not do this job because that was a thing, to absolutely crushing it and being like one of the like best representations of Joker people could think of.
What are your opinions on the 2 actors that have followed you?
I remember making Kevin Conroy laugh when asking about Christian Bale. Remember that? Yeah. Like we were in line for Kevin Conroy New York Comic Con, and I was like, oh, I need to ask him something, whatever. So I go up and I was like, hey man, like, did Christian Bale ever ask you for tips on how to play Batman? And he's like, no. I was like, I made Batman laugh.
Yeah. But you also have to imagine that his laugh is like this truly sinister, like almost bellow. It's like, the man went to Juilliard, damn it.
Yeah.
He knows how to laugh.
I think Christopher Reeves would be really cool to have on.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just to see, like, even just kind of going with the whole Joker thing, just be like, this is what's happened to Superman so far. What do you think?
Did you know that he's died since you portrayed the character?
Do you know that he's died, and he's very broody now, and he doesn't wear a shirt often. What do you think about that?
Yeah, what do you think about
What do you think about that?
Here's this comic where he's a communist.
But also just, like, I think talking to him about the portrayal, the difference between Superman and Clark Kent, because he's really the only one that's had that big of a difference. And I guess you could say Brandon Routh has as well, but he was just mimicking.
You can see the transformation on screen.
You can.
As soon as he puts those glasses on. Just, it's movie magic.
He does a very, very good job at being a bumbling idiot.
Yeah, totally.
What about Alive?
I was thinking about it through the whole thing, but Kevin Smith.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Ooh,
Kevin Smith would be dope.
great to talk to.
King of geeky podcasts.
Yeah.
But he's one of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It's like he's not. I'm not saying like a lot of the actors who play these characters don't know the world, don't know the characters. You know, but we know for a fact he does. You know, and he'll bring up shit that we even know about, trivia we know about, like actually stump us with questions here and there. Yeah. Make us laugh, or even we'll make him laugh also. It'd be an awesome show.
Yeah.
And,
it'd be great.
And he's a great storyteller.
Yeah,
like, if you ever watch like
storyteller,
any of his shows, like he does a show. He has his own YouTube channel where he does a show from like this bar in California, and he tells all these stories from like stuff he's working on, things he's going to work on.
And you just see everybody in the audience is like,
and it was like, what? And it's so fascinating just to hear him talk and like weave everything. You can picture everything he's doing. It's nuts. But yeah, he would be a great person to talk to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill. That's an easy one.
Ooh.
The first thing would be like, did you know that for the first year and a half to 2 years, he mentioned you in every single episode?
and then he just turns around and he goes,
Yes.
I know.
I've been listening.
I've always listened.
He's like, I know when my name gets called. Like, it gives me power. I know.
I get a nickel every time somebody spells and I get a dime every time somebody spells my last name with 2 M's.
I'd go with Kevin Pereira.
Okay.
Why are you taking all my stuff? What are you
Reading your brain, dude. It's downloaded it. No, I mean, and I think Sergio, you can go on the rant about why I wanted to pick him, dude. He's the man, right?
Yeah.
He is, in my eyes, like the guy who he's your Sherpa through the nerd mountain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just who he is for me, and that's who he's been since like 2005 or whatever it is since I started watching. So.
Especially that because like he's talked about openly about how he tried to steer G4 TV after became Tech TV into a more geek-friendly entertainment, like cultural phenomenon. Like I know he'll probably be like, phenomenon, what the hell is this guy talking about? But like that's what it was, and the executives really didn't want to listen because at the time like Cops and other shows were bringing in the ratings, bringing in the money, but there was a whole wave and generation of people who were watching and who loved it, and he was just like, well, back then those numbers didn't really ring true. But anyway, what he tried to do was say you need to focus on this, and that. So that's why Attack of the Show kept changing and kept doing things was because of him. And he's talked about how like he would do certain things like, oh, what if we talk about like things from around the internet, which became a bit. What if we do like little skits? What if we do this and that? And it became things on Attack of the Show. So when he left, people were like, oh, what the hell is this show going to be like? So it'd be cool to talk to him about like, what was your process? Like, how did you see like the forest of the trees? Like how were you able to navigate like everybody to this point where TV didn't have anything like what G4 was doing with Attack of the Show.
Yeah.
Which was really incredible because like, you know, you had like X-Plane stuff like that, but Attack of the Show was like this all-encompassing thing because there wasn't YouTube. So they would like go and search websites for things for around the net. They would talk about gadgets. They would talk about movies, TV shows. They had certain actors on it. If you go on YouTube and search Attack of the Show, you would see like certain interviews from him and certain things he's done at E3 or with actors or movies that came out at the time. They were like nobody else was talking like this, and all the celebrities who were on felt very comfortable in this like geek environment. They're like, oh, this is like so neat what you guys are doing here. And on his podcast, he's talked fondly about how like it's this weird era where nobody was doing this and we did it. And it was just like kind of the Wild West. And then all of a sudden executives were just like, let's just dial back in the geekiness because this isn't really what people want. And then eventually got rid of it. And the channel just became cops and the channel just faded away.
One day we're going to look back once Disney has taken over everything and the geeks have truly risen to the top. We will measure time in BP before Pereira. He's a man who turned the tide.
Yeah.
I also think Noel North, Joe Baker.
Ooh.
Any voice actor, I think, would be a lot of fun.
That'd be good, yeah.
I 100% agree. Yeah. What are my notes? Here we go.
What else have we got in store?
I would say
Good news, everyone. We've got a special guest this episode.
if there was, please welcome Mark Hamill. No. If there was, so we've done a lot of bits. We've done a lot of things. We've talked about a lot.
Yeah.
If there was one bit that you think maybe we could have taken a second crack at, done better the next time around, what would it be?
I'm not saying we should just become a Dungeons and Dragons
No,
podcast.
that's not going to happen.
It would not happen.
No.
But I think there's a lot of charm in just
Yeah.
getting your friends together and producing something. And, you know, something with a narrative.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why not? You know, we're all creative types. You know, not all of us went to school for it, but we've all been doing it forever.
Yeah.
Some of us like to think we've all went to school for it.
We're doing this episode. It might sound a little different. We're doing it all in one room. We don't do this often. We've done this maybe 3 times before.
Yeah.
So we're spending pretty much the weekend together, and I'm learning more about Casey in this weekend
It's getting real weird.
than over 200 episodes.
Real weird.
One of which is he pours his milk in the bowl first.
Why are you
Like a
telling
goddamn psychopath.
You don't. They don't.
This
need
is
to know
amazing.
this.
So I'm literally,
Put your goldfish in the bowl first, and then your milk in the bowl.
I'm literally sitting right in this seat, and I'm just playing WoW Classic, and I look over and I'm like, Casey just has a giant bowl of milk. I'm like, is he a cat?
Look.
Like what? And then all of a sudden I see like the 2 boxes of cereal, and I'm just like, oh no. And I go look at him, I'm like, do you put your milk in the bowl first? And he's like, yeah. How else would I eat this? And I go, you put the cereal in first, and then you put the milk. He goes, well, you know, I like to when I'm home, I like to bring my cereal upstairs in my room, and this is just the easiest way to do that. And I was like, it's easier to have to balance a bowl of milk going upstairs and armpitting 2 boxes of cereal.
I have to armpit the 2 boxes of cereal anyway. I eat multiple bowls of mixed cereal. My cereal of choice is half Cinnamon Toast Crunch, half Reese's Puffs.
Listen, I'm a thick boy, but even I don't do 2 cereals in the same goddamn
You're gonna
bowl.
say tricks.
No.
Like Cinnamon Toast Crunch and
Tricks.
I'm not a madman. Although I did,
Orange juice.
I did try Pop-Tart cereal
It's good.
and Reese's
Pop-Tart
Puffs
cereal.
mixed together today, and it was weird, but it was good. And
Sugar.
Who does
I'm
that?
cereal eating.
Especially when you're bringing it upstairs. Like, you're going to spill.
I'm not gonna bring a whole thing of milk upstairs when I don't know how long it's gonna take me to eat
Why don't you put the cereal...
2+ bowls of cereal.
Okay, is this like an OCD thing where if you pour the cereal into the bowl first, your brain will fucking explode? And it's like, I can't comprehend.
I love this. I love this. Is probably my favorite bit that we've never recorded.
Great.
He's trying to be like, oh, I was there with you guys in college. Remember?
Yes.
In case he's never been to college.
We met in 2015, except Sergio, who I've known since I was a youth.
Right. That's my favorite bit though. Right now, he's like, "Oh yeah, I was there. No, you weren't.
Yeah.
Sure, that thing happened. No, it didn't. Are you trying to rewrite our
For this
memories?
alternate reality where we all exist.
I feel like I'm at least 4 years younger than the youngest person here.
Probably.
What's your
I
age?
think I'm 29 as of this recording.
I'm 33.
Okay.
Just fresh.
Is anyone younger than this?
No.
Okay.
Chris is.
So, no matter how you slice it, no matter how you might have seen all of these people spending time in school together like some kind of Marvel comic, if I was the freshest of freshmen, they would have been gone. So, forget it. It's a ruse. It's a lie. But I fully
He
embrace.
keeps on doing it though.
Yeah.
I fully embrace the idea of retconning my own personal history.
Speaking of retcon, let's retcon this conversation. So,
It
what's
never happened. It was a lie. We
so
made it
so?
up.
But whenever anybody asks you about the podcast, what do you tell them?
I do an online radio show.
That's a good way.
It's the only way I could ever explain to my parents what I'm doing
Yeah.
because at home they would frequently knock on my door or make a ridiculously loud noise. Only on Thursday nights when we were recording. So I would often have to shout downstairs, "I'm doing a show for people on the internet. I'm on the radio." It's like, "Oh, like Ira Glass?" Like, no. He's way too cool and way more educated. And he's met like way more famous people.
Yeah.
But no, we do a radio show online. It's all recording equipment. There's a production to it, and it's broadcast often live before a group of people. It's radio, and most of the time it's just audio. You know,
Yeah.
when we started, it was just audio.
That's
Before
right.
we
Yeah.
moved to
Yeah.
Twitch, even, which do we know?
I think we always did it on Twitch, didn't we?
No, we didn't.
No.
When did we start on Twitch?
That's what I was just going to ask. What's the first Twitch episode?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
that's
that's
a really good
much
question.
farther up. Well, maybe not much.
Because it was
farther,
on
but it's up
Twitch
there.
without video.
Yeah.
But I can't
Right.
remember
We've
which
always been on
episode.
SoundCloud.
Yeah.
SoundCloud has always been our first home.
That's true.
Something similar, like it's a radio show, but I actually go into we bunch of buddies meet up, talk online. We talk about comics, movies, video games. If it's a Muggle, I say we talk about the Marvel movies. You know, and they're like, "Oh, I gotta listen to your shit now." Like it actually gets them to come in. But anyone else like us is it's just sitting on a table with my buddies talking about bullshit.
You know what's funny when you say Marvel? Like people now, like Muggles, ordinary people will understand that it's like geekdom or whatever.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, like Marvel to normies will equal like all nerddom for some reason.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how many like older coworkers I have who are just like, "Oh, you like Marvel stuff? I know someone who likes Marvel stuff that works at like another part of our company.
It's
you
my
two should talk together."
grandson.
Yeah, it's like it's always just like, "Oh, I know someone in another part of our company, like another branch who likes all this stuff. You guys should talk together."
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not okay. It's not.
You should put him on your show.
Yeah, exactly. And remember, I told one of them, it's just like, you basically said, "Oh, you like sports? I know someone else who likes sports. You guys should talk about sports together," even though it's not the same team, not the same players, probably not even the same sport. But to you, it's all the same thing because I said Marvel.
I love
and they're like, "Oh, it's not all the same thing." Like, no, it's not all the same thing.
Yeah. I just say I do a podcast and everyone knows what that is. And they're like, "Oh, you." So yeah, it's like so. I don't remember how it comes out, or it's like a fun fact. You want to drop it in, and be like, "What's a fun fact about you?" I'm like, "Oh, I have 2 podcasts." They go, "Oh, you have a podcast?"
I have
One of those.
Like cereal? Well, no, not like cereal. We don't put the milk in the bowl first.
Call back. All the greats do it.
I'm never gonna put this down.
And then they go, "Well, what's it about?" And I go, "Well, it's me and my buddies from college and past jobs and stuff."
Yes, from college. All of us from college.
We talk about things that we really like. So it's usually going to be video games, movies, nerd stuff, pop culture, and that's when they usually go, "Oh, so not cereal." And we go, "Yeah, no, I don't talk to murderers."
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
Except for Casey.
Allegedly.
Never convicted.
Allegedly.
Never convicted. No, see, I'm a serial killer. CER.
It's true, he does kill.
EAL.
Yeah,
Pops
it's
out
killed the
cereal.
concept of cereal in the morning for me.
I fully destroyed breakfast for
Yeah,
many
that's
Americans.
gone. That is gone.
Yeah, people ask me though. They're like, "Oh, you podcast? What do you do?" I'm like, "I live in my mom's basement." And they're like, "Oh, okay, got you." So like Marvel and stuff. I'm like, "You got it."
You got me.
Got it.
Yeah. And then Jason goes, "No, DC." And they go, "Well, what?"
Said,
Yeah,
"You
Marv.
ever hear about a show called Full?"
There are people who like normies who think it's all the same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it's all the same thing. Like, oh, that Wonder
Snyder
Woman
Cut,
movie.
right?
Oh, yeah, that Marvel Wonder Woman movie. I'm like, what did you just say?
Excuse me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There are people like that are like people who think that and who are educated grown adults who work in business where they tell other people and inform other people.
Do you know what it's
And I'm
like?
like, do you realize that that's really stupid?
You know what it is? It's the new Nintendo.
Oh, it is.
Everybody calls a video game a Nintendo.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
That's what it is.
It's so true.
It's a Marvel thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I remember when Aquaman was coming out, it was a huge big deal because it was a big budget movie. Jason Momoa was huge. Oh yeah, that Marvel
Literally.
Aquaman movie. And I'm like, what did you just say?
It's like, I'm sorry, I think my friend just had a stroke. I should go check on it.
Pause your Nintendo and stop that.
And then even better, like, do you guys have people who come up to you because we talk about all this sort
Yes.
of things too? They want your opinion on stuff all the time. It's like, hey, you talk about this stuff. What do you think about X, Y, and Z? And it's like, insert nerdy geek thing here.
I am frequently the subject of many a comic book related question, and I live for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get asked often at my job and stuff like that. And the thing to do is, like, for me, I just tell people, just make up your own mind about it. Like,
Yeah.
don't take a nerd's opinion, because, like, I might be pissed off about something. Might be a fine movie.
Yeah.
Something I didn't like about it, and I'm gonna go crazy about that one little part. But it's like, always just make up your own mind.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, like, people used to, feel like they used to ask nerds about movies that came out more often then than now. And more often it was like, well, what happens next? Like, I don't know. Like, it's so different. I don't know. Like, when X-Men, I think actually the first X-Men movie kind of changed the mold on that. Before that, it was really more heavily based on the actual stories. So you could watch something like
What's out before that, really? I mean, you have a couple of Batman movies.
Batman.
Yeah, but it's not really, I don't think.
I guess you're right, yeah.
None of those are really based on anything.
Maybe it's more the TV shows I'm thinking of. Like with like Teen Titans would be a prime example of this. The cartoon
That's
Teen
not
Titans.
before 2000.
Right, I know that. But
Yeah.
maybe my brain's just failing me in terms of timeline
Or adaptations.
Although I have a whole show that's just adaptations, so my brain's all wibbly
It was
wobbly.
the MTV Spider-Man.
But so well, I think with like I'm thinking more 2000. It was probably what 2004, 2003, just 2004 was Teen Titans.
Okay.
And I remember because I worked at the theater at 2003, and I got a poster, movie theater style poster for Teen Titans, the cartoon.
Wow.
Yeah, because they had an ad. But anyways, it was Truth, Justice, Pizza. That was the tagline they went with.
That's fun.
Yeah. But Slade came on, Deathstroke came on.
Right.
And everyone was like, who is this guy? I'm like, well, he's Deathstroke. They go, no, his name is Slade. I go, no, that's his real name.
Yeah, you just can't say death on this cartoon for
this
children.
cartoon,
Yeah,
for
exactly.
whatever reason, they went with the kind of that. So, like, I had friends that were just like, well, maybe he's Bruce Wayne in disguise. I'm like, he's not Bruce Wayne in
He's
disguise.
Bruce Wayne.
Maybe he's just testing Robin. Like, he's not. I promise you don't know. I promise you he's not. Like, he's that, you know? And I feel like,
Ron Perlman, way too evil a voice
yeah.
to be Batman.
Yeah.
Love you to death, Ron.
And
but
that
no.
was where, even like, well before the show, obviously, like
Yeah.
people would be like, "Oh, what's this character? Who's this? Who is that character turn into?" And now it's just kind of like with the Marvel shows, it's like, "Well, who's this guy?" It's like, could be something, could be nothing.
Could be- Yeah, like AIM.
Yeah.
Yeah,
AIM, the Mandarin.
yeah.
They kind of, there's a couple, well, that's the same movie.
Whiplash.
They really fumbled the ball in Iron Man 3, didn't they?
Yeah,
What sucks sometimes too is that people want things like compartmentalized into like a small little bite-sized
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Like when Endgame was coming up, people were like, "Oh, can you explain this to me in like the next like 2 minutes?" And I'm like, "No,
no.
not at all."
And I was like, yes,
And-
but it will
and-
have to be like Ace Ventura.
Yeah, and it's like exactly. And by explaining, they mean like, "Oh, well, like I haven't seen anything except maybe like one person was like, I saw the first Avengers movie,
Yeah.
but can you explain what happened so I can go like watch this movie?" I'm like, "No, no, I can't do that."
Not in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, and like the person's talking to me was like, why not? Like, it's just tell me what happens.
Fucking
So I can,
12
like-
movies.
And I'm like, what are you talking like you don't get why this is a huge major event because it's this many movies and like this storyline, yada yada. They're like, yeah, just like explain it to me so I can like go see it. I'm like, I hate that we're working together right now. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you disappear, and you're like, no, I was the half.
And I am out of here.
I think I told you guys this on I think it was the Endgame episode where, when Emily's coworkers was like, my son wants to go see this movie. Does he have to see the other ones? He hasn't. And so Emily was like, well, I don't know. She texted me, and I was just like, what?
Excuse me?
That's weird.
Yeah.
Like, why do you even care? Like, Endgame was specifically marketed to everyone who had been following thus far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, why would anyone else care? It's crazy. I don't know.
I think it's because like it was such a big thing with Black Panther. It was in the zeitgeist of like the international community of people who've never seen anything before in their life.
Yeah.
All saw the marketing for it, and they're like, we have to go see this stuff now. It's getting a lot of buzz. You know, because that's what it was with Black Panther, and with Endgame, it was just massive marketing. So people who were never even tuned into this stuff, like people who followed on Twitter, on Facebook, stuff like that, they were seeing it within like their content that's curated for them. They're like, oh, this is seeping into my world.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal. I got to go see this.
It's a
but I don't know
cultural
anything
phenomenon.
about the stuff that came before because I didn't pay attention before. I know my fellow nerds. Hey, you, coworker, tell me about this thing. And they're just like, wait, what? Like just don't go see it. It's easier for you not to go see it than me to like actually.
I also think
experience
YouTube has replaced a lot of local nerds in terms of like where people get their information, because it's a lot easier to just go in. What happened in the Marvel movies?
No, I had someone who was like, I saw that there were like 10-minute YouTube like videos on that. I just need it in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
somebody worked hard on that video.
What the hell? 10 minutes is about as condensed as you're gonna get it.
I also think there's like a
Superheroes fight each other. Go see a movie.
Yeah.
no. Well, I think
just
there's
like,
also
what?
like a connotation with like of the Simpsons like comic book guy where people are just like, I don't want to talk to that guy,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like, well, you can't. Well, you don't have to anymore because like you just go to the internet, and even if 10 minutes is too long for a lot of people. That's like the extreme example, but there's like Detective Pikachu. Tell me about the inner workings of this, and that's why things like channels like Film Theory and Game Theory really shine, because that's what he just does, goes on these crazy rants, and it makes people think, and they go, "Oh yeah, that game I played when I was like 4," and this is like a Muggle speaking, obviously, like, "Oh yeah, I guess that is really cool," and they go and they talk to, and we're just like, "Yeah, we've known that for ever." Like 5 years before that video even happened, that was like a thing. So I think YouTube is replacing the local nerd kind of thing, which is interesting.
I don't know. I disagree because, like, especially my old job specifically, like it wasn't even that long ago, like a year ago, when like all these YouTube videos were still like a thing.
Yeah.
My coworkers still ask me like what my opinion was, because it's like with anything, you could get a lot of information from YouTube or online, but if your friend knows what they're talking about,
Well, you're a trusted source.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about reviews. I'm talking about just information. Just
well, that's what I
raw
mean. It's
information.
like I'd rather hear it from like someone I know than just like look it up sometimes, because they give me more like little nuances that this video won't give me, or this article won't give me.
Well, it
So it
depends
does.
too.
So it does. It used to happen to me a lot, especially at the older job. Like there was one guy specifically, one of my old bosses. He was straight up Muggle until the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And then every time a trailer dropped, he would just like pull me to the side. Like he's like, "We're taking a 15-minute break," and just doesn't matter what was out going on. He's like, "You're taking a break right now. We're talking about this."
And I wish
we
I
would
had
talk.
somebody with that kind of enthusiasm in my life. Most of the time I talk about this stuff outside of this circle, you just see all the color drain from someone's face. And you're like, wow, he's not going to stop until I walk away.
I can tell you that's wild a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's wild.
Oh man, that's wild.
It's so crazy.
That's wild.
There's one guy at work who will come up and he'll ask me a question, and then he'll just start doing this. So, like his phone comes out, it's like, oh, okay. And then I see the phone, I'm like, and I just start making shit up at that point, just to see. And
I think also like us, especially us and like Chris included, is we're like high functioning nerds, pretty much the way best I can put it. So it's like we can go to a bar, have a normal conversation.
Yeah.
We can go movie, have a normal conversation. We're not like the stereotypical nerd that they see when they think about comic books. And
well, I
movies,
don't
things
think
like
that like stereotypical nerd really exists.
For some people, it
There
does.
does.
It does.
Yeah.
So
does.
I'll say this: there are degrees of it.
That's what I mean. We're high
for
functioning.
sure. No, but like I think everyone. I don't think like there's one person that embodies like everything that everyone thinks.
I just
think
want
it's
to get
spread
ahead
out.
of this. I don't subscribe to Dave's definition for all of us, and neither do my collection of body pillows. So,
But I think like everyone is just like, oh, the smelly guy in the corner who corrects everyone and is balding and has that, like, it's the fucking Simpsons comic book guy, right? And I think that like it's just like the infinity gauntlet of a nerd. Like you have to like get like certain things together in order for that to happen. But I've never seen, and like also ill meaning. I've never seen all of those in one person.
perfectly
I have.
balanced,
I've
as all
never seen
things
it.
should
And
be.
and very recent.
Mom,
I've
where's the
never seen it.
chicken?
And it's like that's what I think helps us out a lot, specifically, is because we're not those dudes.
Yeah.
You know, like if someone asks me like anything about Star Wars, I'm not going to be a dick and be like, "Well, you should watch these." I'll tell them, "All right, cool. What do you want to know?"
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know?
Yeah.
And that's how we are. We're
But
like,
but there's so there's that attitude, right? But then usually I've seen that attitude, but I don't see the other stuff.
I've seen it.
It definitely exists.
Usually,
like,
yeah.
we've run into them at like
I've
New York Comic
literally
Con.
only
There's
ever
definitely those
seen
kind of
nice,
people.
smelly guys in my life.
You're
Like,
lying
if
to
they
me.
smell,
Yeah, I
no,
don't know
I've
about-
literally only seen nice, smelly guys in my life. Like anytime, like if I'm at like PAX and like a big, smelly, sweaty guy bumps into me, he always says sorry.
Okay.
It's always the skinny little ones that don't.
We've never hung out at a Super Smash Brothers tournament where you could literally die of stink and rudeness.
Yeah, that's fair.
You will never find a more wretched hive.
I think also what me and Sergio also specifically, and also Casey, the reason why we see is because
Yeah.
we're cosplayers. they exist hard in the cosplay community. These types of like these types of nerds, pretty much.
It's funny to me that like Muggles have that connotation, and like they rarely see that kind of person.
It's in the zeitgeist, though. It's like it's
Yeah,
what they
it's
know.
very interesting,
You know
though.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like we've seen it. I've had one guy specifically. I'm not going to say his name, but like he says I'm a fake Star Wars fan because I didn't see it back in 1977.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And I'm
Sorry,
like,
I wasn't alive.
You weren't alive.
yeah, I wasn't even like a twinkle in my dad's eye at that point. You know,
Well,
so
I mean,
it's
that's
like,
probably all that guy. That's all that guy has in his life.
oh no, he has a lot more than that. But like he's,
Oh, give us his address.
Yeah, let's find him.
but still, it's like fuck. You know, it's not my fault for not being born. It's like
Forgive me, senpai.
it's like you being a fan of Nirvana and then being pissed off at a kid who likes Nirvana even though they're only 12 years old.
Yeah, sure.
It's like good music is good music. A good movie is a good movie. It doesn't matter when you were born, when you saw it. It just means you have good taste.
Yeah.
You know, you shouldn't really be that asshole to someone just
agree.
because they never like were an original fan.
I agree.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the type of people we are. You know,
Yeah. Inclusive.
yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're Casey.
What's your Casey? And you put milk in your cereal.
Come on.
first. Fucking maniac.
This is gonna be a bit for another year, Casey. Hope you know that, right? Like it's just gonna come up
You've
almost
done
every
that
show.
yourself.
Yeah.
I have no hope.
Made your bed.
What's one thing coming up in the near future that you're really excited to talk about?
All the Disney Plus stuff.
Yes.
Like holy crap. Like,
She-Hulk.
My God, like
Too much
no one
about
needs this
She-Hulk.
amount of content. Disney's like, we have it all. We have Marvel, we have Star Wars, we have our own Disney stuff, we have National Geographic, we have Jeff Goldblum doing things. It's like, wait, what?
It's just a half hour of Jeff Goldblum staring at you intently.
Yeah, like that's gonna be a lot of
Stammering.
content. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Like I mean,
You can't just agree now.
What do you
It's
want,
the same
dude?
rules as before. If he picks something, you gotta pick something
gotta
else.
pick
dude, no, there's like nothing else I can think of. I'm like, other than
in the
maybe,
near future.
other than maybe Star Wars, like the episode 9, but I'm not looking forward to it because it's the end of the Skywalker saga. So it's like it's gonna be the end of that chapter,
Right.
You know, so I'm not really too. But at the same time, the universe will continue on in Disney Plus.
Sure.
So it's like that gets me
So
excited
pretty much all you are excited about is Disney in the near future.
at this
More
point.
There's
Disney.
no
Give it to me,
games you're
Disney
excited
Daddy.
about.
Give it to
no
me.
Other movies, TV shows.
Are we talking hypotheticals or things that are definitely confirmed?
Things
Things
are
are
definitely
definitely
coming out.
Okay.
Wait, what do we mean? Why are we talking about hypothetical?
Oh, because I would absolutely love to do an episode if it ever fucking happens, which it never will.
Yeah,
If they actually put out a Snyder cut of Justice League.
that would be amazing.
Wow.
I'd love to do that.
The hits alone.
That
The
would be
hits
so
alone.
Ooh.
Bill and Ted 3.
Ooh.
Super easy for me. Like that's gonna be amazing. And John Wick 4. 'Cause that's
Yeah.
definitely
Oh, hell
happening,
yeah.
Like all that.
Dude.
I'm not excited for
Matrix
that.
4.
Rocketeer remake.
I'm not excited for that.
Or not remake,
The kids
sequel.
cartoon.
Yeah.
It looks horrible.
You know what? Last of Us Part 2.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's, I know we'll cover it, but I'm not going to be on that podcast because I'm going to play this game like
Yeah,
how I want to play it, take my time, go outside, smoke a cigarette because of the stress.
yeah,
You know, like
Animal Crossing.
Yes.
I love it.
yeah. And with that, that's gonna be officially all the time that we have for issue number 200. One of the few times where the Voltron lines come together
Yeah.
To form one super podcast.
that holds a giant bowl of just milk. Yes. Remember, if you are listening to this right now, usually go with the live spiel, but that's not the case because we're not live this episode. But usually we are live over
yeah.
at twitch.tv/BadCoyoteFunky Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can go ahead and follow us on the Twitter, the Instagram, Facebook page, wherever, or we have notifications of when we're going live. Twitter's probably going to be the best one for that. You can also find this and more episodes on SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, iTunes. What are they called? Apple Podcasts now. I'm getting tired. I'm so tired.
Whatever
Apple
podcast you
Podcasts.
solve.
Yeah, basically, if you get a podcast somewhere, we're probably there. So you should go ahead and go to there. And, you know, if you're feeling so generous, give a 5-star review. It'll be great. All right. And remember, everyone, we'll see you next time, or we will see you another time.
We love you, Twitch.tv. Good night.